Come and dream with me.
Welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together, talk about movies, TV, and online content, help you answer the question, are we doomed to have the discourse about worst movie of the year lists every year for the rest of our lives? Yes. I'm your host, Ash Nobley. Join me today, Dylan Blight.
I hope not, because they're dumb.
I think, as I saw pointed out by BD on X or Twitter, the problem with these lists are they're not the actual worst movies of the year. Because if you were actually going to look for the worst movies of the year, you'd be looking.
No one actually watches them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just these ones that these critics want to like
shit on,
brag on. Yeah.
Yeah. Or be pretentious about.
Yes, it comes from a mean-spirited place. These lists,
yeah,
which rub certain people.
I think I saw. I can't remember. Was it Scott? I think it was Scott Derrickson. No, I'm going to go with him because I feel like that's what he was tweeting the other day about him, saying they're terrible, which I agree with. And then someone like in the comments had to go like, "Oh, I should you can't be anti-criticism or whatever." And then he came back and was like, "No, I'm not anti-criticism. Like, if a movie's bad, it deserves to be called out as bad. Like, if it's badly acted, it should be badly acted, whatever. But like, you're not like, this isn't criticism. It's setting out just to make, hey, here's shit things that I think are shit. Like, it's not from a point of actual criticism. It's just out to be mean-spirited.
Yeah, it's not criticism. Yeah. Intention is very much the key to,
Yeah, it's just for clicks. It's very much just for the clicks.
Absolutely. And it gets a ton of clicks, so I mean they're going to continue effort. That's the problem.
Yeah. But I agree. I don't like the
All right, on today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, going over some film news, giving some thumbs to trailers, and giving you this week's top 3. I'll kick things off. I've been lucky to see a few things that are going to be coming out this Boxing Day. So just last night, I went and saw the new Will Gluck movie, Anyone But You, which of course stars Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. They play two people who have like a meet-cute but have a terrible misunderstanding and kind of leave their first date on bad terms and thus become mortal enemies, kind of. But it turns out he's best friends with a woman who's dating the Sydney Sweeney's character's sister. So, they're forced to intertwine and socialize. So when that pair decides to get married at a destination wedding in Sydney, they have to fly from America to Sydney for the wedding and try to get along. The story is loosely based on Taming of the Shrew. So there is like trying to pair them together to like, get them to get along, I guess, is the concept of Taming the Shrew. So they kind of go along with it. It's just a bunch of misunderstandings and, manipulation and puppeteering and that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney, they're very charismatic. They're very sexy. They look great on screen. They have really good chemistry. Really fun banter. There's some enjoyable, sequences. They pull a song from, the mid 2000s, I want to say off the top of my head, that I'm sure people have forgotten about, but, was a banger at the time, but, they bring it back into the mainstream, I think. But yeah, I think it's interesting watching this movie as an Australian. Because I don't think we obviously don't see very many movies set in Australia that aren't Australian, or at least not mainstream big movies. And we're going to have like this and Fall Guys, the Fall Guy next year.
I was going to say, we kind of, technically we've had a lot set in Australia, like filmed in Australia, but not in Australia lately.
Filmed in Australia and set in Australia is different. Obviously, this is very much set in Sydney, like the Harbour House. They have the Sydney Opera House feature prominently in the plot to the extent where they consider it a romantic spot in the same regard as the Eiffel Tower, but obviously to a lesser extent.
Definitely
not a thing. Not a thing.
But then I'm like, is this thing where we know it's not a thing, but maybe the Eiffel Tower isn't actually I don't know. Like, are we being tricked?
Yeah,
to the whole life?
it's propaganda. Maybe someone
propaganda,
started
yeah.
the propaganda of the Eiffel Tower being a romantic spot, and it became a romantic spot. So
Could be.
why not? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Really enjoyable cast. Brian Brown plays so Alexandra Shipp's stepfather, but he owns the big Australian estate, so that's why they're having the wedding in Australia. And he's just doing his normal accent, so it's a lot of fun. But yeah, some of the best bits are like them attempting to get the pair together, and him and his stepson like doing terrible acting to try and convince them. It's like, and I think an amusing thing for me is like they pull like direct lines from Shakespeare at certain points, and the joke is, "Oh, I just came up with that," which is amusing in the moment, but which when I explain it that way, it doesn't sound very amusing, but it was at the time.
So funny.
I mean, yeah, it's a fun rom-com. We don't see them on the screen very much anymore. They're obviously relegated to streaming services and that kind of stuff. So it looks really good.
I have a big question. The biggest question about this movie has been they like keep pushing it as like ultra sexy, bringing sexy back to rom-coms. What's this rated? And like, what's the sex level?
It is, I want to say M off the top of my head.
So it's not actually like.
I mean, it would be R in America, I'd assume. There is someone topless on the beach, and there is so Glenn Powell's character, X, is lives in Australia. He's coming to the wedding. She is currently dating the most bogan surfer dude Australian. So at one point he goes to have a shower at the beach shower, completely naked, and is talking about how sand gets everywhere, including up several terms to describe your crack and several terms to describe your penis. And there is a shot of him holding his penis.
Okay, so it's got like nudity in it.
So there is some nudity. There is, I don't want to spoil anything, but there is limited sex scenes. But
I'm only asking because they keep marketing it as this like bringing sexy back to rom.
I feel like that is maybe played into from the rumors around Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, and like I feel like that's mostly just marketing.
They're fucking on the set. They're cheating on their partners.
It's got to work for some couple eventually.
Spider Woman's a home wrecker.
But yeah, I mean, it's enjoyable. I mean, it's nice seeing Australian wildlife like setting and that kind of stuff.
There's a koala in this movie.
There is a koala. It's a funny scene.
There's a huntsman spider.
There is, and it was they drove to that spot. They didn't just rock up in Sydney and find that spot. They went specifically out for a hike, which was an issue you had with the trailer.
You're right.
But yeah, it's enjoyable. I mean, it kind of goes the way you expect, especially seeing it's based on Taming the Shrew, but I had a good time. A lot of laughs, especially my audience. I feel like it will definitely play differently to Australian audience than to every other audience. Just because, we understand the references. There is a running joke of when somebody wants to leave a situation, they point in the distance and go, "Oh, is that Tasmania?" And then walk off. So,
shit joke. Not funny.
It's pretty great. It's funny to me. So yeah, Anyone But You coming up Boxing Day. And then I've also watched Migration, which is the new Illumination film featuring Kumail Nanjiani and Elizabeth Banks as two ducks. So they live in a pond. Migration is happening. Their kids and Elizabeth Banks' duck want to go on migration, but Kumail Nanjiani's like very much want to stay where they always stay, very careful, anti-adventure. But he's convinced.
It's Jamaica, right? That in the trailer, I think
they want. That's their aim.
Is that a real thing? Like they hibernate, they migrate
don't-
to Jamaica. Like
I don't know if every bird does, but I know
okay.
they do go
That's
south.
where they want to go. Okay, right.
Because another group of birds comes to the pond, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to Jamaica."
Because I just have questions about the like where are they when the movie starts? Like in what do they say what country or area they're in?
They're in America.
They're in America. Okay, so I just want to know, like, if you're in America, like, and they're attempting to go south, is that how you get to Jamaica? Or is that
Yeah.
why it's funny?
Well, I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm pretty sure at the start of the film they go north to New York City, which you saw in the trailer, which
Right.
is the opposite direction.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they're just terrible
But
at this
they,
whole migration thing.
Yeah, they obviously, they're used to just staying in their pond every winter, so
Fair.
the eternal compass is messed up. Yeah, I mean it's a road trip movie, family road trip movie, but with ducks, with animal shenanigans. There's a very enjoyable sequence involving pigeons, fighting over a sandwich. They encounter a cook who desperately wants to cook duck. Hilariously, this
With
movie
L'Orange, or whatever it is.
Hilariously, this film features a very scary heron, who may or may not want to kill the protagonist. And yeah, it's enjoyable. It's for kids. I just feel like I would during a lot of road trip comedies, there's like a bunch of different set pieces or places that they go and like have little small moments or skits. I feel like this was missing like 2 or 3, like to kind of stretch it out a little bit. Even though it's a kids movie, you don't want it to be too long. I just feel like there wasn't enough variety in the road trip esque moments to make it really good. But yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. The cast is really good. They have 2 actual kid actors doing the kids and that kind of stuff, and they're quite adorable and that kind of stuff. The animation is, Illumination-esque.
Do you like Illumination stuff in general?
I mean, it's fine. I mean, it is pretty safe. I feel like it's probably, the best term.
How do you feel about Minions?
I'm
Pro
not
or
anti. I'm
Okay.
not anti.
Okay.
But yeah, they at the start of the film, like he tells a story about to try and scare the kids to like stay in the pond or whatever. Like if they leave the pond, they'll get murdered by a bunch of different animals, predators or whatever. And that's like done in like a really cool 2D art style that I kind of wish they would do again, like for a full movie, because it looked pretty cool. Also, speaking of Minions, in front of this film, there was a short film called Mooned, which is set, I want to say, after the second Despicable Me 2 movie, second Despicable Me movie, with the villain of that movie who, at the end of it, gets stuck on the moon, and it's just him trying to get back to Earth. But meanwhile, another minion has like crash landed on the moon. It's very unrealistic, is what I immediately thought, because the Minion's not wearing any kind of.
Are you telling me that the Despicable Me / Minions franchise is unrealistic?
The pressure of space would completely destroy any of them.
No.
And at one point, the villain of the film takes off his spacesuit and is just in his tidy whities, and yet he is not freezing to death. But it's fun. There's some fun gags, He tries to move the moon rover off like through a like U-shaped crater to like so he can use the gravity to like fly him up back to Earth. But he needs to move a rock, so the rover goes down and just hits him a bunch of times.
See, none of your problems sound like problems to me, and all of that sounds very funny.
That's just cartoon logic.
Yeah. I feel like, to me, Illumination, like the Minions and stuff, it's sort of like, to me, like the closest I have to sort of absurd Looney Tunes humor at times, like with what they do.
No, that's completely fair. This is me being super nitpicky.
Yeah. Because like some of their jokes are really dumb, but I just find them funny. Like even in the trailer for Migration, I've watched it a couple times, but in the couple times I've seen it, I just find the whole part in the trailer where they're like talking to Joaquina's character for the first time. It's like, you say your name was Chump? Yeah, Chump. So listen here, Chump. What you call me? Oh my, no,
Yeah.
no, I find that funny for some reason.
It is pretty funny. Yes. So it's pretty fun. Migration. You wouldn't waste a day taking your kids to go see it. I think they'd enjoy it. So check that out on Boxing Day. All right, let's talk about the other bird movie that we've watched recently, The Boy and the Heron, the latest film from Hayao Miyazaki, of Studio Ghibli fame, I guess. Number one in the American box office. I don't know if it was number one. I didn't actually check the Australian box office.
Last week, as of the Thursday, from where I gather my stats from, who only release them weekly on Numero, it was number 4.
Hunger Games. Yeah, Hunger Games number
Hunger
one.
Games was number 1. Troll, Bandskib, and Napoleon, and it was number 4.
That's crazy. But yeah, we both saw The Boy and the Heron. Of course, we did a very long-running podcast called Studio Ghibli's Animated Wonders. Dylan, what do you think of The Boy and the Heron?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I think it's I think it's way too deep to be to work as just a fun kids movie or whatever. But I definitely feel like it's Miyazaki continues to just make these movies that are so, like, he's so old. Like, but somehow still just making such interesting films with ideas, and like this one's so thematically, I guess, tied to his life, which is, the whole idea of it to a degree. And I love the animation. I felt like it was beautiful. I think the voice acting all in English, which is how I watched it, especially Robert Pattinson, which no one will really recognize, I guess, because he has such a, I couldn't even attempt to do an impression of it.
I mean, even Christian Bale, I didn't realize was Christian Bale until
I realized it was Christian
really
Bale. I could hear Christian Bale, but Robert Pattinson, if I didn't already know he was in the film, I would have had absolutely no idea. But yeah, I like the slow build. I appreciate such the fact that it's just not a movie in a deep rush to get you to the quote unquote fun stuff. It spends its time building up and then slowly just unravels, and the movie gets more and more sort of ridiculous as it leads up towards the end, I guess, which it starts so grounded, and then like it's just like, oh, it's normal sort of life and war and terrible things, and by the end of the movie it's like absolute insanity. So without spoilers, I think the ending I thought worked for me on the emotional level. I thought it was really thought-provoking, and I remember driving home in my car just I was just thinking about it over and over. So it definitely worked for me.
I think it is beautifully animated. There are some incredible sequences in this film, especially like anything involving like the hospital fire, like that whole sequence, like, which I think for the first time Hayao Miyazaki actually got help to do, like, which hopefully prolongs him making more films. Actually,
different animation style, different like frame rate, like different
The score to this film is amazing, like incredible. The cast is really good.
It's on Apple already.
It just didn't quite click for me. I was having a good time, but I'm hoping this is a film that you get more out of the more times you watch it. And like, that's going to be, it resonates more the more you watch it. It's definitely, like you said, not your standard, kids film or like just story in general. It's not your basic plot A to plot B to point A to point B, point C. It weaves in wild directions, very allegorical and metaphorical at certain points. I'm sure there's many a breakdown as to what every single character in this represents and means, obviously with the intention this would be Miyazaki's last film. Whether that's true or not, we don't know, seeing as he it sounds like he went straight back to work on stuff.
If it was
Which-
his last film, it would be a fitting last film, I think. So,
But I mean, you could say that about The Wind Rises, which I think would have been a very fitting last film as well. So
yeah. I think that the thing about like how if people do breakdowns and stuff on the film is people are going to want to be looking for the right answer. And I just don't think that this is a movie in which Miyazaki set out like to say, here's like my deep rooted meaning and like and here's what I think the answers, because the film, a lot of it boils down to like I guess like
the fact that you can't answer straight
I'm
away.
trying to say about spoilers, like I think like it boils down to like tradition, the sort
Legacy.
of the legacy, the the never-ending nature of upholding those things. But the problem is that the ending, and the reason I think it struck me and like had me thinking in my car is, and I realized this straight away, but I think some people are incapable of realizing that some people make movies about actually giving you the answer because they don't know it and they just want to pose a question, you know. I don't think the movie gives you an answer as to like, it sort of just says all of these things are problematic and, you know, like this never ending cycle of things to a degree, but the movie doesn't actually give you an answer. I know, and maybe that's why some people won't like it, but I just don't feel like, I'm definitely of the belief that just because someone brings something up in a film and it's an interesting subject matter, that means that you suddenly have to have the thought-provoking answer to all of world's problems, you know what I mean? Like, especially because so they have that book featured in the movie, which was like sort of the basis of it, how do we live or whatever, which was the title of it in
for
Japan.
a while.
But from my understanding, and I've started like reading that book, it's not at all like anything to do with the book. It's just like that was the inspiration for it.
Inspired the story that he wanted to
tell.
tell.
But like that movie is a question, you know, not an answer, and I think that's the point of the movie as well. The movie is a question, not an answer.
But yeah, I look forward to having like a full discussion, and like after doing a lot more reading, I feel like it may be watching it again.
Yeah, that's why I sort of don't want to rush straight. I want to do the Studio Ghibli podcast, but I feel like I'd like to rewatch it, and B, I still feel like I need more time to. Like, like here's our like reaction thoughts.
Even
hey,
like we've been sitting on it like a week. It's like,
yeah, like I know I like it, but I'd prefer to like, maybe watch it again.
I admire it. I don't know if I like it, or I don't love it. I know that.
Yeah, I know I definitely like it more than you based on your initial reactions.
Yeah. All right. Dylan, you've went and watched Wonka, a new film starring Timothée Chalamet as the famous chocolatier. What'd you think? As a massive Paddington fan.
Yeah, Paddington Bear. He's my favorite. Yeah, I really, really liked it. I thought it was great. I don't really have too many problems with it, to be completely honest. I thought it as far as doing a prequel origin story to Willy Wonka, it sort of it fits so perfectly into the world, I guess. Like it doesn't feel like an unrolled out thing. Like, you know, it feels like he sort of was involved even though he's not. So like it just magically sort of fits into there. I thought it's like absurdist with this whole like chocolatier, what would you call it? Like, what do they call it? Chocolatier, like gang
cartel.
Cartel, yeah. And that's like ridiculously over the top. The characters within, like, but there's so many elements of this that just reminded me, I guess, like Paul King, like with the, you know, that when he gets captured or whatever and forced to do the cleaning, like that whole stuff, it just reminded me of like Paddington in jail and like just such these like mix of characters and whatever else.
Sorry,
is going
the sequence of the idea of Paddington in jail still is funny. All these years later.
Yeah. King Michael Kay's Keys just like just getting paid off and getting ridiculously huge off chocolate is, I don't know, I found it funny.
You didn't find it offensive? That was your concern?
No, that was it. Yeah. I know that people, like, I get it, like, to the point, it is like, I don't know, like, I don't feel like it's mean spirited. It's just like a a thing.
No, it's not addressing all overweight people. It's just like specifically this person
It's
due
like
to the
this-
circumstances of
Yeah,
what they're doing.
and it's sort of like he is. He's a ridiculous character. I'll say. Hugh Grant, Oompa Loompa was great. A lot less of the Oompa Loompa than I thought, but I think that's perfectly fine. Olivia Colman and Tom Davis, I think, would be the standouts from the film. Actually, them working together was fantastic. And then Timothée Chalamet, I think, in context within the film, is a lot better than any of the trailers did justice for him in it. And I really liked all the songs. I thought all the songs were fantastic. None of them are like as good as the original film, but I also don't feel like I appreciate that they didn't try to like just do weird remixes the entire time or so, like just similar sort of stuff. It's like all new songs, it all works, it's fine. They build up to like they play one at the end, and you know it's fine. Really, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm happy that Wonka's doing well because it's a delightful movie. And we need more stuff like that, the only thing, it's interesting to see the reaction. Like, people are upset that this doesn't tie too closely to, I guess, the Gene Wilder version, who's a lot more cynical and that kind of stuff. But it's pretty
like
cool. There's time for him to get super cynical.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I thought, like, this is he's
optimistic,
young and uncynical and optimistic, and then by the time you get to Wonka, he is cynical because of the world and stuff. So
yeah, all right. So I watched Silent Night, the new John Woo film starring Joel Kinnaman, in which a man loses his son on Christmas Day and then decides to spend, after getting shot in the throat and being unable to speak anymore, decides to go kill all the people responsible for his son's death. This is a movie that I feel like everybody should go and see, because then you'll understand the importance of good fucking dialogue. This movie is boring as shit, and it's just ridiculous on such a high degree, just super unrealistic. Because the thing that is going for here is there is no dialogue in this movie. So this entire year, a man and his wife have absolutely no conversations. At no point is she like, "I love you." "Oh, I'm so glad you're alive." "Oh, where are my keys?" Nothing. It is bonkers. There's no communication at all during this movie. Everything, anytime they try and get a message across, it's got to be like hardcore context clues, charade shit, to try and explain it stuff.
I feel like you're also describing John Wick to a degree. So
no, but they talk and like have discussions and like have personality. I mean, I knew I was in trouble when this movie opens with like a 3-minute like credit sequence, with just Joel Kinnaman like running in slow motion, and then just cutting to different parts of his body as he ran. Yeah, the movie takes so long with its setup that you're so uninvested in this film that when the action actually comes about, you don't care. And the other thing, there's a cop played by Kid Cudi, who Joel Kinnaman apparently forms a relationship with, even though they don't talk at all, and they're willing to die for each other. It's a fucking dumb movie.
don't know how you really feel.
It's just, I mean, there's some cool transitions and that kind of stuff. Like, he's going for like, those are like the only interesting like filmmaking elements, I feel like. But man, this.
Have you ever watched a John Woo movie before?
I watched Face Off early, or last year. I watched Red Cliff. I want to say 1 and 2, part 1 of those movies. I watched Mission Impossible too, so I watched a couple. But man, this was rough. This is the roughest sit in cinema I've had in a long time. So yeah, Silent Night. Don't watch it. Don't watch it unless you want to, again, understand the importance of dialogue and banter and comedic relief, all that kind of stuff. Just showcase. It's a fun thought experiment. What if we made a movie where there was no dialogue? And sometimes mistakes need to be made for the betterment of cinema. So yeah, there's that. Also went and watched One Life, which is also releasing on Boxing Day. So this is a film about Nicholas Winton, who was a British humanitarian during the Second World War. He went to Czechoslovakia just prior to Hitler's invasion and helped with trying to get children out of the country, so they weren't, ravaged by the war. A lot of them being refugees from Poland and that kind of stuff, and kind of is told in current day with him trying to come to terms with, I guess, not being able to save enough people in his opinion, and then obviously the events happening in World War II, with the current day being played by Anthony Hopkins, so it's really good. The younger version being played by Johnny Flynn. Just a interesting story. I don't know if there was enough here for a movie, or at least the way they tell it. I feel like it just kind of it's like really an interesting story, and obviously the kicker is like at the end he he kind of gets reunited with a bunch of the kids who he saved or whatever. If you saw the trailer, I'm sure that's like not a shocker. Like the way it's set up is like I kind of knew a big reveal was coming. But yeah, you see, it's a nice light. Well, not light. It's a nice drama, a little bit of an uplifting story. Anthony Hopkins very good. So, One Life. If you're into those kind of World War II story films, check that one out. Dylan, you've done a bit more catch up. You watched No Hard Feelings.
That movie. Oh, Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Sorry, too.
Banging a college student.
Yeah, I thought this was good. Definitely in the realm of, hey, we're doing like harder rated or American harder rated comedies again, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fun. Sort of didn't go the full direction I thought it was, which I thought was good. And I feel like it had a lot of really ridiculous scenes paired with weirdly being quite sentimental by the end. Like I really appreciated by the end that it was like a nice ending, I felt, for how everything got together. But yeah, Jennifer Lawrence is great in it. She's playing such a over the top ridiculous character. But also I want to shout out to Laura Benatti and Matthew Broderick, who as the parents I just thought were completely something special. Yeah, I mean, never seen a girl get kicked in the crotch before that way, but yep, there you go.
Yeah, never seen somebody body slam someone naked before. So
I've seen that, but I've never seen that
on a beach. Yeah,
I don't know, on a beach, but I've seen people get body slammed naked. Sure, I can't say I've seen that.
Okay. Awesome. What do you think of the man-eater scene?
The man-eater scene
on the piano.
Oh, that was really good. That was really good. Like actually good. Surprise! Like
yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
This is a banger. Put that shit out on iTunes.
Yeah. All right. And then you watched a film that I've been toying with watching. Lost City of Melbourne.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It came out last year. I think it's been on my list. It's been sitting on my list of things to watch for a while now. Yeah, it's sort of like just this. Obviously, because it covers like Melbourne, like early 1940s, 50s, wherever it starts, through to modern day. A lot of there's not like a lot of interviews during it. You get lots of that footage. You can tell when footage is really old, where people don't have. These days you're filming down the street, no one's like giving two fucks, and they're like just like fuck off with all your TikToks you're filming in the street. But you go back to like 1940s, 50s, people, it's like, oh shit, there's a dude with a camera, and then you always have those people that are like walking right in front of it or like staring at it, like because it's like such a like, oh my god, what is that sort of. Yeah, you get some of that. But yeah, it basically just covers how Melbourne was built and how it was such in that 50s, 60s deemed as like sort of really like one of the most modern cities as far as, trams and like all these the different areas it had and the markets and the design of it and how it like didn't have a like main shopping mall area, and it was designed to get people shuffling around the city to different parts, and like the whole the way it was set up. It also covers like some of like the segregation of different cultures and stuff that is definitely racist, but Australia, shout outs. And then it goes through to, I think it starts in like late 60s, 70s when they start going, oh, a lot of our, like, as the Queen's coming through for her visit, we need to really try and follow in the steps of America and all these other bigger cities, and our design's something really outdated, so let's like tear down everything and rebuild it and stuff. And it covers a lot of the buildings that were lost and what happened to them, what they are now. Like it is like sort of sad when you see like shots of the footage of stuff from like where there's this bustling and bustling town areas and like people walking about and doing things and shopping or whatever, and then it cuts to like modern day and it's just like a fucking highway. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's sort of sad when you say it that way. And I really appreciated, especially as like the cinema lover, there's a I can't remember his name, but there's a guy in this that comes in as a talking head to cover cinema history throughout Melbourne for the entire time, and goes over the cinemas that were lost because they were torn down and how beautiful they were and all these sorts of things, and then goes into the ones that have actually been kept and are able to survive, and focuses on the fact that some of these ones where it's like, well, if it's a one cinema complex, how's it supposed to survive? It can only do one showing at a time, and such a antiquated way of thinking compared to the big sort of massive cinema chain complexes and stuff like that. But covers the design of a lot of these places, like the structural design of them is very beautiful and everything. So I really enjoyed it. I don't know if you'd get a lot out of it if you don't live in Australia, because there was an element of like obviously going to Melbourne a lot and it'd be like, oh, there, like that's crazy, like fucking wild, but yeah, I would recommend watching it especially if you live in Australia.
Awesome. All right, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, you've watched Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget.
I didn't live up to my expectations.
Ooh.
I think it's decent, but it definitely doesn't have the same
You're
magic.
missing Mel Gibson.
Incorrect. That said, Zachary Levi is very flat and boring as Rocky. I don't know. He doesn't do justice. I think it didn't need to be Mel Gibson for obvious reasons, but I don't feel like he quite has the knack there. Sandy Newton taking over for Ginger, great job. That's fine. But Rocky, nah. But yeah, I feel like it's just missing something. I don't know what it is. I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it's just it's like similar idea. I don't know, just something else. It's like, hey, what's the idea for the movie? Or how about like our child gets captured and we have to break in this time. It's like sort of, I don't know, like it's still playing around the same sort of stuff. Like maybe it was a one and done. Maybe it's a thing. I think I'd probably chuck a solid 6 on it. It has some funny jokes in it. I think that David Bradley as Fowler is very funny. I think the two was it Daniel Mays and Ramesh? Fuck, I don't remember his last name. But the voices of the two rats, whatever those characters' names are, they're quite funny. Nick Mohammed plays a new character in this one. This dumb scientist person who's like running the chicken farm place. That's quite good. There's a new character in it that Molly, played by Bella Ramsey, who's very good as well. Molly's the daughter of Rocky and Ginger. Yeah, like there's some new characters and old ones that are really great, and the voice cast is everything there. But I don't know, just is missed. There's something missing here. Just some of the magic from the first film is definitely not quite here.
All right. I watched the documentary, I guess you would call it. Headliners only, Kevin Hart and Chris Rock, which documents their comedy tour, or at least their one show that they did at the Madison Square Garden, in which they both performed on the same night back to back and that kind of stuff. It's fine. It works. It doesn't really give you much of a backstage kind of look at the actual show, I guess. But it does like hype them both up and explain their rise and how they became like two of the biggest stand-up performers in the world. It's just, yeah, I guess you'll enjoy it if you like Kevin Hart and Chris Rock. That's kind of what it breaks down to. Not much else. It feels mostly like promotional material, which is interesting because none of them. You would think they would release this in conjunction with the special, but it's just released on its own, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, that's on Netflix if you want to watch it. All right, let's move into that's everything we've been watching this week. Let's move into a little bit of film news, and we've got the movie award season is taking focus with a bunch of nominations being revealed in the past week. Most prominently, I guess the Golden Globes, which saw Barbie getting a bunch of nominations. So I'll just run through the best motion picture drama and comedy. Best motion picture drama, the nominees are Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Past Lives, The Zone of Interest, and Anatomy of a Fall. And best picture musical or comedy are Barbie, Poor Things, American Fiction, The Holdovers, May December, and Air. Yeah, Dylan, what are your thoughts on the Golden Globes at this point in time? Obviously, they've gone through a large shift. They've brought in like 300 extra journalists to vote on the awards, but obviously in the past year they've also been sold to I can't remember what the Penske Media, who coincidentally also own, I think it's Variety and the Hollywood Reporter. So it's kind of this like they own the Golden Globes from like a media perspective and the actual ceremony perspective. So, what do you think of the Golden Globes? What are your thoughts?
I think I saw them give Priscilla a comedy nomination,
possibly,
and that is, even as someone who hasn't watched the film, dumb. But also, we're talking about the people who nominated.
No, Priscilla's under best. Kaylee Spaney is under actress for motion picture drama. No, film. I just said the music comedy. It's under, it's not the best picture nominee.
I think the Golden Globes are a bit of a mess. They have been for years. I don't really look forward to them. There's a lot of like controversy surrounding them, I guess. And there, as you're just saying, there's some like weird, what would you call it? Like mixing of hands and tables happening behind the scenes that just makes it quite odd.
Yeah, it definitely is a little. It's interesting. Obviously, it's an award show that people like and people watch, and obviously, there's a mix of TV and TV people and and movie people. Interesting. The most interesting category this year is they've introduced cinematic and box office achievement. The nominees are Barbie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, John Wick Chapter 4, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the Super Mario Brothers movie, and Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Shouldn't that award just go to whoever made the most money?
Well, probably.
So, Barbie. I think.
Yeah, I believe Barbie.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to say the least. So
wait until they add a most anticipated movie category.
Oh, hopefully not. Also this week, Critics' Choice Awards announced their nominees. Again, Barbie earning a bunch of nominations. So the best picture nominees for the Critics' Choice Award are American Fiction, Barbie, The Color Purple, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and Saltburn. What do you think of that list?
So, when's Maestro out?
This week. Well, it's been out in limited release. It's coming out, I want to say, this Friday. Okay. 20th or 22nd, something like that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like a little bit of that yet. So it's hard for me to fully vote on it, to be honest.
But this seems to be like the list that we'll probably see. I don't think Saltburn's going to make the final list, but everything else from that list is probably going to be nominated, I would assume. And then the only other awards nominations this week, well, I guess you had the Actor International Awards nominations, but I don't have that handy. But the Indie Spirit Award nominations got released this week as well. Best feature nominees are All of Us Strangers, American Fiction, May December, Passages, Past Live, and We're Grown Now. So, again, a couple of familiar names there. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to kind of see this kind of take shape. Obviously, the Academy Award nominations aren't super far away off the top of my head.
Actor best film was international film was American Fiction, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
That sounds about right.
Best drama series: Beef, Succession, The Crown, The Last of Us, Yellow Jackets. Shout out.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets getting some love. You know, the Emmys are only like a month away now, even less.
Really? What, end of January?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in mid-January.
Okay.
Which makes things interesting. Here we go. Nominees will be announced 23rd January. So that's still a while away for the Academy Awards. But yeah, we're kind of getting a taste of how everything is kind of taking shape. So that's exciting. This week, Netflix made an interesting move. Reading from the Hollywood Reporter, Netflix has taken a big step towards data transparency yet. Its biggest step towards data transparency yet with the release of an exhaustive list of viewing time on the platform in the first half of 2023. The list includes worldwide viewing for more than 18,000 movies and seasons of TV, 214 to be exact, between January and June. Those 18,214 titles had all seen at least 50,000 hours of viewing over these 6 months, encompassing 99% of all viewing on Netflix. VP strategy analysis Lauren Smith told reporters during a presentation of the data on Tuesday. It is the deepest dive into viewing that Netflix has ever made public. So Dylan, I've got a list of the top 20 things watched on Netflix worldwide in the first half.
All wrong.
Just guess what the number one is.
Most watched worldwide. It's not. Is it in English?
Yes.
Okay. Is it the what? Is it the what's the games show thing?
Nope.
Oh. No, I'm out.
The number one thing watched on Netflix between January and June 2023 was The Night Agent, season 1.
Really?
Yes. Amassing 812,000 hours viewed. Oh no, millions of hours viewed. It's a weird list. Number 1, Night Agent season 1. Number 2, Guinea and Georgia season 2. Number 3, The Glory season 1. Number 4, Wednesday season 1. Number 5, Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story. Number 6, You season 4. Number 7, La Reina del Sur season 3. Number 8, Outer Banks season 3. Number 9, Guinea and Georgia season 1. And number 10, Fubar season 1.
Yeah, I couldn't have guessed it.
Could not have guessed any of those. It just goes to show you all the critically acclaimed stuff that we claim to all be watching on Netflix. Nobody's watching.
I was actually watching it.
So, what do you think of Netflix actually releasing a lot of this data? Do you think it's...
it's good, like, obviously, because, like, it's not a bad thing to release more data. I just want to know why. Like, why else, and what's the reason?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying it's due to agreements they made at the writer strike or actor strike.
Yeah, okay. Could be.
Let's see. In a statement, Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos said that the company has been on a continuum of becoming more transparent as its streaming business has matured. Early on, he said, it wasn't our interest to be transparent because we were building a new business, and we didn't want to give any competitors a roadmap. Creators liked it too because they were free from the pressures of ratings, which, isn't true. This is probably more information than you need, but it creates a better environment for us, for the guilds, who won some key concessions on data transparency in selling labor strikes this year, for producers and for creators and the press. So yeah. Netflix plans to continue semi-annual reports of its viewing time, Sandros said he wasn't sure other streamers would follow his company's lead. So yeah, this could be something we see across the board more often, which is interesting because we all like numbers. Let's be honest, comparing numbers, just being able to tell what people are actually watching. But yeah, it just goes to show, you never know what people are actually watching on Netflix.
Nope.
Okay. It's coming to the end of the year, and one of our big stories from the year has come to a close. Walt Disney Company has fired Jonathan Majors from his upcoming Marvel films. IndieWire has confirmed from a rep from Marvel. There are no additional details on what the company's next steps will be, or if the role of Kang the Conqueror will be recast. The Loki Season 2 star and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania actor was found guilty of assault and harassment, a New York City jury found on Monday, December 18th. Majors was found not guilty of one count of assault in the third degree and not guilty of aggravated assault in the second degree in the December ruling. So yeah, Major's sentencing will take place on February 6th, with the actor facing up to a year in jail. So yeah, an ongoing story that we've kind of had to deal with the fallout all through here, kind of coming to a close. And it doesn't seem like a move that Marvel probably should have made 8 months ago, they finally made. Or maybe they've been prepping to make, they finally pulled the trigger on.
Yeah, it's very fast. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw the news story post, and then 10 minutes later it was like Marvel's fired him.
I think they had that press release ready to go.
Yeah, they just clicked publish.
That was the decision. They just wanted to complete. They didn't want to take the first step. Is the interesting thing. Like, they wanted, like, oh well, I guess we have no choice. You committed a crime. What are you going to do? Sure, there's all these allegations and other stuff, and yeah.
I would say it's been interesting to watch everyone. Like, the woman's name is Grace Jabari, his ex, who he assaulted. So I'm glad that she ultimately will have closure of some sort, which is good. But yeah, I mean, obviously everyone, like, I'm looking in the comment section as a news story, and it is just straight to, what's Marvel gonna do? And then once 10 minutes later, it's like, oh my god! And then you've got every second comment, someone's like, they got it wrong. Like, it's all like, just we live in a weird world, I tell you.
We do, and yeah, obviously, it's very disappointing. Especially for the people who worked on Magazine Dreams, which is obviously a film that debuted at Sundance, critically acclaimed, is likely to never see.
He's got two
release.
Films also currently sitting in limbo. 2 other films that probably will never get released now. One was the Spike Jonze movie or something.
Let's have a look.
Spike Lee, sorry, I got a fucking
Spike Lee.
I said Spike Jonze.
Yeah, I'm guessing The Understudy.
Yeah,
is the Spike Lee movie, and then he was rumored to be playing Dennis Rodman in a film. Is what's listed on IMDb? So
yeah.
The Spike Lee one seems to be in pre-production, so that could still be he could still be recast for that. So
I read somewhere that it's. I don't know if I got the information wrong, but I don't know. Anyway, it does just whatever. Who cares about him? But like I was just saying, like obviously it sucks if people like
for everybody around him. Yeah, it kind of taints them. Yeah, I mean, it's been a weird year where this story is constantly being compared also to Ezra Miller and their story, and them having a massive movie coming out, even though they did a bunch of despicable things that have been caused to them getting arrested and that kind of stuff, and people are like, well, he didn't get cancelled, he is still able to release this massive multi-million dollar movie, but has he gotten any job since either? So no. So disappointing, because obviously they were very good at what they did, but we don't really need them in our movies.
There's enough actors in movies. This is the thing I always say. Like, it is disappointing, but ultimately there's more than enough good people out there. And the good ones deserve the time. And if a shitty one has to go to jail or never work again, or both the things, to get someone else their shot who's not a shitty person, then good.
Yeah, so be it.
So be it.
So this is an interesting one. Over in I want to say Japan, probably. It doesn't specifically say. Jump Festa 2024 is taking place, and it was announced that Wit Studio and Netflix have making the One Piece, a new One Piece project. This project will recreate the story of the original One Piece manga, starting with the East Blue arc. A teaser visual and teaser video were revealed. George Wilder, president of Wit Studios, left a short message saying, "We need your help to excite everyone around the world once again with the classic story of One Piece, a treasure of Japan. Are you ready to join our staff in this new adventure? We are currently recruiting new members for this project. We're looking forward." The One Piece anime, which celebrates its 25th anniversary in 2024, is also entering a new chapter. The anime continues strong with over 1,000 episodes of the series streaming on Crunchyroll. New episodes coming out each week as they air in Japan. Dylan, obviously, everybody's kind of got One Piece fever at the moment. Lots of people jumping in on the live action adaptation, and then being faced with the daunting task of an anime with 1,000 episodes. Is this a smart move to do another adaptation while the other adaptation is still being done? I guess it's this odd, weird overlap, but it's like there's like 25 years between the two starting points.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if it's good, people are happily going to watch it. So that's it's only if it's bad that it would be a horrible waste of money, I guess. Like if it is at least decent, then people are just going to watch it. So it's like, yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, to me, this is a very smart move. Obviously, getting a very good studio on it. Wit Studios has done the Spy X Family anime recently, which is very popular. And from all reports, like the first, if they can streamline a lot of the stuff from the manga and like kind of condense, I think lots of people mention the words filler and One Piece in the same sentence. Condense it. I know a lot of the animation has, especially early on, is a bit dated. So, if you like bring it to more Bond-esque standards and that kind of stuff, it's just interesting, obviously, that they're going to pretty much tell the same story again that they told in the anime, the live action anime adaptation. So, but yeah, this will become again, also interesting that they've paired up with Netflix, like straight out of the gates. Like Netflix is like, yes, this is something that we want. It makes 100% sense based on probably the figures that they saw for One Piece. So, yeah, all you anime fans there, very exciting. Dylan, every week we get so much casting news, but this week's different. This week they announced this year's blacklist. Of course, the blacklist is a list of the most popular or best unproduced screenplays currently available out there. So we're going to cover it in a segment we like to call "Would You Want to Invest?" So this week I'm going to give Dylan pretty much a plot synopsis or the pitch for a film. And he's going to tell me if you would like to fully invest, not invest, or partially invest. And then history will be the judge. Infamously, I think it was, what's the Will Smith film that about Serena Williams' father?
Oh, yeah, that one.
That one. That was on a blacklist that we covered on an episode that Dylan didn't want to invest in. So we lost a bunch of hypothetical money.
I didn't know Will Smith would be in it, like.
That's true, Yeah. So this is based purely on premise. All right. So we got Bad Boy by Travis Braun. A rescue dog suspects his loving new owner is a serial killer.
Full invest. No, yeah, full invest.
Stake Horse by Justin Bisecki. A racetrack veterinarian who runs an off-the-books ER for criminals finds his practice and life in jeopardy when he's recruited for his patient's heist.
Full invest.
Spoiler by Jordan Rosenblum. After passing on a hot new screenplay, a studio executive finds himself trapped as the protagonist inside the film and must regain control before the credits roll.
Full invest.
Head Games by Colin Little. A corporate spy poses as a personal chef to the disgraced founder of a neuroprosthetics firm in order to steal his seismic shifting new invention from his secluded villa in Greece.
What? Nah, I'm out for that one. None of this.
Didier by Jackson Killard. The inspiring true story of international soccer icon Didier Drogba and his efforts to end a bloody civil war in his home country of Ivory Coast, not just with the skill of his feet, but with the power of his voice.
That's a terrible tagline. No, invest.
High concept. In the early 2000s, two totally opposite best friends, Mike, an uptight lawyer, and BJ, a stoner slacker, awake one morning to find they have swapped bodies, are stuck in a time loop, and are affected with many other high concept comedy premises of that era. Drawing upon their knowledge of those types of movies, Mike and BJ must learn their lessons and get their lives back to normal.
Stars Ice Cube and Mike Epps. Partial invest.
Patsy. The untold and unfiltered true story of legendary country singer Patsy Cline, from her humble beginnings in Virginia to her untimely death at the height of her fame.
Don't know who that is. No invest.
Forbidden Fruits by Meredith Alloway and Lily Houghton. Free People employee Apple secretly runs a witchy femme cult in the basement of the Ball store after hours with fellow fruits, Cherry and Fig. When new hire Pumpkin challenges their girl boss ways, the women are forced to face their own poisons or succumb to a bloody fate.
No, what the hell you just said. No invest.
Return to Sender by Russell Goldman. When a woman experiences delivery scams that grow increasingly personal and strange, she becomes hellbent on discovering her anonymous sender.
Nah, nothing.
First You Hear Them by Sean Harrigan. A group of 20-somethings try the perfect drug for the first time. It's only when they come down from the euphoric high that the hauntings begin. First you hear them, then you see them, then they come for you.
Yeah, I'm in. Fully invest.
Foragers by Sam Boyer. When the illegitimate daughter of a Portland billionaire goes missing, her loved ones turn to Juno and Andy, local homesteaders and members of the Foragers, a grassroots network of experts dedicated to finding the lost and bringing them home.
Nah, sounds like gibberish.
Carousel by Rachel Lambert. A family doctor in East Cleveland juggles his personal life as he reconnects with his old flame, deals with his teenage daughter's problems, and selling his family medical practice.
Too relatable. No invest.
Hot Mess by Sandra Wakefield. Sandy was once a formidable investigative reporter until a bungled story destroyed her credibility and forced her into the soul-sucking world of tabloid gossip. Now her days are spent covering hot mess celebrity Margot Ford. When a disillusioned Sandy is called to Fiji to follow Margot's latest hijinks, she discovers a surprise about Margot's real identity, which sends her on an adventure she never imagined, as the two must team up to take down a massive sinister corporate plot with global implications, all taking place at a luxury island resort.
Partial invest. Chelsea Green should sue.
Hit Me, Baby by Kurt McLeod. After Liv, a world-class hitwoman, breaks up with her boyfriend Martin, he puts out a massive contract on her life to get her attention. What Martin doesn't realize is that it's an open contract with a 48-hour expiration, so now every assassin in the Western Hemisphere is coming after him. Liv makes a deal to keep him safe until the contract expires if he pays her out the full bounty. With the clock ticking, the two must elude some of the world's most prolific killers.
It just sounds like another John Wick wannabe. No invest.
Polo by Nika Burnett. When a young woman returns home from the Navy, she joins a local water polo team and finds herself fighting a new battle.
Is it a shark? No invest.
Why would it be a shark? Polo was played in a pool.
You never know.
The Nest by Aaron Benjamin. Confined to the Nest, a Secret Service sniper gets a strange call on the radio from a deranged mastermind who's holding his family hostage in a box suite during America's biggest game, Super Bowl.
No.
We Got Next by Aaron Goldberg, Alex Goldberg, Michael Goldberg. The true story of how one daring executive beat the odds to launch the longest running league in women's sport, the WNBA.
Partial.
10/24/02 by Connor McKnight. On one rainy night in October, a man checks into the Mooncrest Hotel. He never leaves. A real-time, single-location thriller in the aftermath of a heist at Area 51.
No.
The Prophet. An astonishing true story of an unknown evangelical Christian immigrant, Billy Huang, who suffered the greatest loss of wealth in American history, gambling away his $35 billion fortune and jeopardizing the entire financial system in under 48 hours.
Yeah, full invest.
Better Half, by Galen Gold. A codependent woman unravels when her best friend gets a boyfriend.
What? Fucking, that's not a movie synopsis. No invest.
All right, last one. Fistmas by Jack Ways. In order to propose to the girl of his dreams, a love-struck guy must first survive her hometown's annual Christmas fighting tournament.
Partial?
Okay. We'll see if any of these actually get made. And if they're good, very excited for the future. But let's talk about some movies that we actually know are coming out with this week's Thumbs for Trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kick things off with Origin, directed by Ava DuVernay, starring Arjuan Ellis, John Barenthal, Vera Farmiga, Audrey McDonald, Niecy Nash-Betts, Nick Offerman, and Blair Underwood. Grappling with tremendous personal tragedy, writer Elizabeth Wilkerson sets herself on a path of global investigation and discovery as she writes Cast, the origins of our discontents. Dylan, you're a big Ava DuVernay fan. What do you think of this trailer?
Double thumbs up. Looks great. Can't wait to watch it. Very interesting, I think. Set up. Like, when the movie trailer started, I was like, I know what I'm watching here. Like, what's the story here? But then, as it got further and further into it, I was like, oh, okay, yep, sure. This looks like it's going to be very deep. So, it looks like it's going to be, as the kids say, a lot. I'm keen.
Yeah, I think I'll just lean into 2 thumbs up. I think like you said, there's a lot happening in this trailer. It's not exactly clear what the structure of this is going to be, because obviously there's a lot of footage of flashbacks and that kind of stuff. It's like, are those going to be fleshed out, or is it just flashbacks that they're being used in the trailer, just like quick snippets in the film? Or are those characters we're actually going to explore and that kind of stuff in some way? But yeah, I mean, it looks good. Interesting story, interesting concept, and obviously, it kind of opens with like the George Zimmerman story, I want to say, off the top of my head, or like a recreation anyway. So yeah, very interesting. So this one is releasing in the US January 19th, no Australian release date. Next trailer is for Which Brings Me to You, directed by Peter Hutchings, starring Nat Wolff, Lucy Hale, Brittany Oldford, Genevieve Anderson, Alexander Hodge, and John Gallagher Jr. 2 romantic burnouts meet at a wedding and almost hook up in a courtroom before putting the brakes on. They agree to exchange candid confessions about their past on the off chance this might be the real thing. Tim, what do you think of this rom-com?
I think I was halfway through the trailer and I was like, oh wow, it's like Ash's fucking favorite movie. His favorite genre. Yeah, I'll give it double thumbs up. Looks like could be fun. Saw the trailer, felt like I watched the whole bloody movie. But yeah, I'm keen. Looks like there's good chemistry between Lucy Hale and Nat Wolff. So yeah, double thumbs up, sure.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 thumbs up as well. I agree. I feel like they do cover almost the entire movie in this trailer, which is an issue. But this is my thing, like high concept rom-coms.
Yep.
Very enjoyable. I like the idea of them kind of exploring their memories, like almost actually, like them popping up in each other's memories and that kind of stuff, and talking to them directly, breaking the 3rd wall or whatever, 4th wall, I guess. So yeah, this seems like it'll be a delightful time. So this is also releasing in the US on the 19th of January. Also no Australian release date. Next trailer is for Miller's Girl, directed by Jade Haley Bartlett, starring Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman. A talented young writer embarks on a creative odyssey when her teacher assigns a project that entangles them both in an increasingly complex web. As lines blur and their lives intertwine, Professor and protege must confront their darkest selves while straining to preserve the individual's sense of purpose and the things they hold most dear. Dylan, what did you think of this very controversial trailer?
Double thumbs up. I think it looks really good. Keen to watch it. I think both Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega look great in it. I'm keen to see this. So they used to make movies like this, I guess. Like, teacher gets with student, sort of like as sexy movies, I guess. And it's like obviously now as the human race, I guess, move forward and realize it's problematic. I'm interested to see like how this movie does the subject matter.
Yeah, I agree. It's 2 thumbs up. I think based on the talent involved, I don't think they would agree to do something that doesn't tackle this subject matter in the right way. And it definitely feels like Jenna Ortega's character is the one pulling all the strings, kind of, and Martin Freeman's just kind of got caught in her web, I guess is the best way to describe it. But yeah, I mean, and the weird thing is, it doesn't seem like they're actually doing anything. It's just like she's written stuff that implies that stuff happened. So
she's flirting with him. He's definitely getting too close to her based on the trailer, but not like doing anything too wrong. But like obviously they're getting like.
But again, this is the trailer, so we don't know. So
yeah.
But yeah, seeing some of the reaction to the trailer has been interesting.
I haven't seen anything. Like, what are people
kind
saying?
of people getting upset and like saying they shouldn't be covering the subject matter and that kind of stuff. And also, they have a
fucking May December is literally all about this subject matter. I didn't see anyone complain about that.
You didn't see the people complaining? Well, I've seen more people complaining about them considering it a comedy. But yeah, I've seen people upset about the way they tackle the subject matter and that kind of stuff. What was it? They have they have like a disclaimer thing at the end of the trailer, like, oh, if you want to talk to people about all these issues, go to this link, and there's just like a bunch of very basic kind of stuff on the link. So people have been upset about that as well. Yeah. So yeah, Miller's Girl releasing in the US on the 26th of January. No Australian release date. Next trailer.
Can you
Kung Fu
pick something with an Australian release date? Jesus Christ.
I can't help it that we live in a country that constantly gets fucked. Kung Fu Panda 4, directed by Mike Mitchell, starring Jack Black, Dustin Hoffman, James Hong, Bryan Cranston, Ian McShane, Awkwafina, Viola Davis, and Ki-Hu Kwan. Po must train a new warrior when he's chosen to become the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. However, when a powerful shape-shifting sorceress sets her eyes on his staff of wisdom, he suddenly realizes he's going to need some help. Teaming up with a quick-witted Corsac Fox, Po soon discovers that heroes can be found in the most unexpected places. Dylan, what do you think of the Kung Fu Panda 4 trailer?
I think I only watched the first Kung Fu Panda. That's how
I feel like that's probably the case for many people.
Yeah. And like not like I didn't like it, but I just for some reason I never watched those ones.
Never did.
Yeah. So I know, and this very much seems like they're like, I don't know, the start of a next chapter, I guess, sort of thing. Like after the first 3 or something,
It has big legacy sequel vibes.
Yeah, it does, which is weird for a thing like this, but
an animated film that is timeless.
Yeah. But they're like, oh, Po, you gotta become a fucking peace monk now, or whatever the hell he's got to do.
He's becoming the turtle from the film.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go double thumbs up. It looks like fun. Animation looks good. Awkwafina's in everything now. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, trailer was good. So I wasn't super excited about the film or anything because I just haven't seen the other ones. But yeah, decent, good trailer.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 thumbs up as well. Interesting concept and like bringing back. It seems like they'll bring back a lot of the villains from the previous films as a power source for the main villain of this film, voiced by Michelle Yeoh. It was Michelle, right? Yeah, it was. Or Viola Davis, maybe it wasn't. Sorry.
Close.
Yeah, very similar. In Academy Awards. But yeah, I mean, it looks good. I think again, this is one that's kind of caused division. It feels like a lot of people have been turning on Aquafina. Like that was the thing that I saw most about this trailer. It's like, oh, Aquafina is another thing. You know, she's not really changing her voice, but they're putting in these because her voice is unique and you know it works for kids movies. But yeah, I mean, it looks enjoyable. I'm keen. This trailer also pointed out that I haven't seen Dustin Hoffman in something for ages.
Yeah, I thought he was dead. Hey.
All right. On that note, Kung Fu Panda is coming to Australian cinemas on the 28th of March. Last trailer for this week is another one that's been talked about a lot. Civil War, directed by Alex Garland, starring Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moreau, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Kaylee Spaney, Jesse Plemons, and Nick Offerman. In the near future, a team of journalists travel across the United States during a rapidly escalating civil war that has engulfed the entire nation. Dylan, you're an Alex Garland fan. What do you think of the trailer for Civil War?
I thought it looked really good. I'm going to double thumbs up. Maybe it's because I'm not in America. And most of the people who are annoyed about it are American, at least.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe that's part of the problem. Most of the arguing I've seen is like, this movie's plot is dumb. This would never happen because the South would never. Like, you might have people doing this thing, but I'm like,
I think it's very specific because they say the two states that team up are California and Texas, who are currently kind of opposed politically.
Yes. But I'm like, that's done on purpose. Maybe that's part of the plot. Maybe we should just wait for the movie. I don't know. Like, am I being crazy? But yeah, I mean, I think it's very intense looking film, obviously, but I'm very keen for it. I think the cast is fantastic. It looks like I'm keen to see Wagner Moura out of the cast the most in this, and like sort of a leading big American film role, I guess, and not playing a bad guy because you know we've got to cast the fucking dude from he's actually from like Brazil or some shit, but like the non-white dude as a villain. But anyway, he's from Mexico. I'm sorry, Mexico. Narcos, and played the fucking cartel dude, whatever. Kirsten Dunst looks great in it. Jesse Plemons looks great as a fucking Nazi or whatever the hell he's doing.
American.
Nick Offerman's like, make America great again, president. Yeah, let's go. You know, double thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah, this is 2 thumbs from me. I was surprised by the backlash because it looks maybe again it is because we aren't American. It's like we're like, oh, this seems like this seems like the writing's on the wall for this.
And I've seen a lot of people be like, the last thing I want to watch is something like this next year when the election's happening. But I'm like, maybe that's the point. Like, I don't know. Like,
maybe this is like we need to come together before this actually happens.
Yeah.
But like this is what's going to happen. But yeah, I think Americans getting upset that obviously this is a movie written and directed by a Brit about America. And then also like people getting upset because it's focused on journalists and like them covering the news. It's like it's very weird, the reaction to this trailer. To me, I was like, oh cool, they finally adapted DMZ in a cool way rather than the HBO series. So that also covered a very similar idea. But yeah, I'm keen. I never watched Men, so I don't, you know. So
well, that's all right. They left it out of from the director of part in the trailer. So
yeah, Annihilation is Annihilation, a movie that came to Netflix and nobody actually watched, and Ex Machina, which obviously is a massive hit. But yeah, I'm keen. I'll be interested to see it. And just obviously, this is their first venture by A24 for bigger budget movies as well. So I feel like they've got a reasonable amount riding on this. Being somewhat successful.
They're shooting for the fucking stars of this one, like as far as like.
Well, they're just getting a little bit more ambitious.
Let's try and make something a bit more big budget and you know less like weird indie film vibes. Let's make something about the fucking Civil War in America set in modern day.
Yeah, let's try and make some money. What can be the most divisive thing that we could try and put out? So, all right, this one is releasing in the US on the 26th of April. There is currently no Australian release date.
It's A24. It'll come out here in
It's
2025.
A24. Well, it's a big budget movie, so maybe they want to have a
A24,
global
can you
release.
please get a partnership with an Australian fucking release studio?
Yeah, Australian
Distributor,
distributors.
yeah.
Like, throw some money at A24.
Holy shit. Like, fuck.
All right, let's move to this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And this one's pretty simple. This week's top 3 is top 3 last-minute Christmas gifts. Dylan, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is a gift card. Village cinemas, event cinemas, indie theater cinema. You know, like, solid gift card. Won't go wrong. I'll use it.
It's a good choice. My number 3, it's just a Blu-ray. Okay, just get them a movie, a physical media that they'll never lose. In the very
can't
good,
be taken from them.
They're not going to break into their house and steal it forever. You know, if you want a safe bet, get either Barbie or Oppenheimer, or maybe both. You know? Even if they've got it, they can probably re-gift to somebody else. So,
what's better than a gift you can use, but one that you can re-gift, you know?
Yeah. Dylan, what's number 2?
Number 2 is this game I kept saying a lot of places lately. I don't know if it's just like marketing or something, but Cinephile, a card game. I don't know if you've seen this. It's got cool art. I don't actually know how you play the game, but it looks like there's like...
I believe there are a variety of different ways you can play the game.
Yeah, it's like easy, medium, hard. I don't know. It looks like it's got cool art in the cards. Anyway, I've seen it pop up a bunch of places recently. Marketing's got me, so yeah, that's my pick.
All right. My number 2, fancy popcorn. Listen, anytime if you didn't have popcorn when you watch a movie, did you even watch a movie? So just get some very nice fancy popcorn, or like just a nice set with some nice seasoning, or like even just something to help people make popcorn at home. Yeah, that's my number 2. What's your number 1 last minute Christmas gift idea?
Apple TV 4K.
The actual device.
The actual device. As someone who loves the Apple TV 4K, it'd be a great gift for anyone who watches a lot of streaming, any of the streaming services, and likes to be able to rent movies and stuff like that. You don't need an Apple device, but obviously it helps. But yeah, I don't remember last time I saw my smart TV's actual menu. I don't use it. It's slow, it's sluggish, it's shit. Everything looks better on the Apple TV. It has better video codecs. It has better special audio codecs, full Dolby support and everything. So it's very fast. They did an update the other day. The menu looks great. That'd be my pick. Upgrade your TV. Make it better.
All right. My number 1. This is a streaming service subscription. Just buy somebody 3 months, 12 months, depending if you like them or not.
What if they've already
Doesn't
got it?
matter
How
which
do you
one.
do that? Like, do you just give them the money, or
No, they can just apply it to their subscription, or they can cancel their subscription and then use the card.
Okay.
I think it's probably how you have to do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, you know, it's a nice thought. And there's a large number of different streaming services. Even if it's not one of the basic ones, you know, give them a doc play subscription. They probably don't have that, or a BritBox, or depending on what kind of device and all that. Or you know what would be a great subscription to give them? 12 months of VIP access to track.com.
You know what are going to be an even better gift?
What?
12 months Ko-fi support to explosionnetwork.com/support.
In their name. They would really appreciate that,
they
probably.
Really appreciate that thing.
Yeah. Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
Movie Rebel Moon. Let's see if it's as shit as everyone says it is.
What do you think around the discourse that Netflix has decided to cut this movie up, take an hour out of it, and then eventually have another cut? Do you think that's a real story, or is it Snyder fans trying to justify why this movie is not good?
It could be both, is the thing. I don't like they both it could be true or could not be true, and I don't know. So we shall see. I'm also like, maybe I'll like it. I like Snyder stuff most of the time, at least, even if I think it's like pretty average. I can appreciate.
You think they're being too harsh?
No, I don't know. Maybe it is shit, Wolf, but I'll just get to enjoy Charlie Hunnam being Charlie Hunnam, I guess, for a little while and doing his thing. That'll be fun. So I don't know. Looks wild. Watch it anyway. So I'm keen for that. Obviously, it's a massive movie for Netflix, so I'm gonna strap in. And TV show pick would be Doctor Who on the 26th.
That's a good pick. Good pick. My number one is the Boxing Day movie I haven't seen, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Let's see what this is. Is it Jason Momoa's last ride in that yellow outfit? Probably. But, you know, it's going to be crazy wildness with James Wan. I'm very keen to check this out in the cinema. Pretty excited. And then on the TV front, I'm excited to check out the new Percy Jackson and the Olympians TV series, which will launch this week. Yeah. From all reports, it's much more faithful to the books. Obviously, in a TV series setting, you know, you can expand on stuff a lot more than you can in a movie. So, very keen. All right. Let us know what you want to watch this week by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser, leave us 5 stars, and you can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our COVID page at explosion.com/support. So obviously this episode has been late, but we're also not putting out an episode next week because of holidays. When are we back?
We're back.
Early, I think it's the first week of January.
I mean, other than that, there'll be episodes for the movies and TV award week, but your first normal episode will be the 24th.
Yes, there'll be other stuff every week, but normal episode, 24th of January. So until then, remember, keep watching stuff, I guess.
Make your first movie of 2024 a good one.
Yeah. And your last one of 2023.
Yeah.
Because that stays on the track list forever.
I usually end up watching a shit one, to be completely honest.